Welcome back. This is Will at work. I am Kevin. Today we are looking at the PlayStation Vita. Here we have the first edition bundle. It's the 3G Wi-Fi AT&T version, and it came with this rather nice hard case for it. A copy of Little Deviants, wasn't something I was into. 4GB memory card, and it kind of got you started up with the Vita. This was Sony's second handheld game system. Now, the interesting thing here was that phones were starting to be more smart, and games were playable on phones to a limited extent, right? They weren't amazing games, but people were carrying their phones around and finding things to do on their phones. And the attraction of having a handheld game system was a lot less, apparently, than it was when the PSP was around. Now, this was competing with the 3DS. The 3DS did really well, but that kind of was more of a marketplace for younger kids who, were a little bit more apt to want to play, a small handheld system, and didn't want to go through all of the rigors of playing on a phone, right? Because, logging in, downloading something, and getting it to work on phones for kids. Kids' phones aren't usually the top end kind of phones, especially at this time, etc., etc. So, kids, they weren't playing Fortnite back then. A 3DS was more appealing, and it had a lot of games that they wanted to play. Where the Vita was more expensive, kind of resembled more of a top-end type of telephone device, cell phone, and just maybe was not that big of an improvement over the PSP. So a lot of people that had PSPs didn't really see the urge to move to the Vita. It didn't distinguish itself very well, and they had phones, and they just didn't. So this didn't sell as well as Sony would have liked. It sold okay. It sold all right. Like a small company would have been all right with the way this sold, but it didn't sell on the order that the PSP sold. So Sony was just like, well, we're kind of done, and so far they have washed their hands of it. But I will also say that they kind of knew that this wasn't going to do so well, and the reason I say that is because they at the same time had released the Emerson Sony, it's basically the PlayStation phone, but they don't call it that, but it has the PlayStation button layout on it, etc. It's like a Android phone that, this control scheme would snap down, and you could, play games on it with the controller, onto the screen. And it also had the PlayStation, what do they call that thing? The menu system, the crossbar, or whatever the heck they call it. And there were special games that worked that way, and there was a special mode inside, like the Google Play Store, so you could play those games, and it would support this controller and everything. But there were a lot of PSP ports to that. It wasn't particularly unique in what it was offering, and it was also not like that competitive of a phone, and so it didn't sell, and they never even ended up upgrading it to like Android Gingerbread or anything, and it kind of just sort of went away. I don't own one of those because it's basically just a phone. The only game console I own as a phone is the N-Gage, and we'll talk about why that is when the time comes. But Vita, it's a good system. It's good. It's solid. It plays, PSP games. It lets you remote play off your PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. I don't know if it does PlayStation 5, but it was a pretty solid system. Sony did use their own proprietary memory cards to try to make a little bank off of this thing. That was a mistake, I think. That just alienated customers more. They should have just supported, standard SD card. But they had to do it their way, and that's kind of what they do with the PSP as well. But it is what it is. So we will take a look at it. And it's pretty dirty. Have not looked at this in a while. I used to play trivia out at the bar with some friends, and the one girl would bring her son. He's a nice kid, and he couldn't drink, or wasn't really allowed to play there or whatever anyway. So I would bring the Vita, and I would let him play on it. And I am not blaming him for the condition that this Vita is in. I'm just saying the use that it got was a lot from him. Alright, I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to go clean this up a little bit so it looks better when we're displaying it to you guys. I'll be right back. Okay, that's better. So, PlayStation Vita. Here's an example of a cartridge. It comes in a box. This isn't the actual cartridge. It would be kind of hard to insert that into the PlayStation Vita. It basically, contains a memory card. Sometimes there's a booklet in here. Let me give you another example. Like this, right? But this is just a slip with a code on it. For the online pass activation code, which probably doesn't work anymore. I don't think I ever used it. Some of these require memory. Like it says, memory required 64 megabyte. Oh, I'll shut this light off. It's such a battle. It's like, do you use the extra lighting and deal with the glare? Do you struggle through it? So anyway, that one there says 64 megabyte. And this one is like 8 megabyte. And this one's uses 1 whole megabyte. But yeah, Killzone Mercenary uses 200 megabyte. So they were using some of your memory card, to save games and make things happen. Which is, no big deal. I have a variety of little memory cards up here. Whatever. They came in all different shapes and sizes, and they've been hacked today, so I'm pretty sure you can get like an adapter that'll let you use like an SD card instead of the standard Sony memory card. But whatever, there's probably one memory card to rule them all, and it contains a bunch of games on it. I don't know if that's true, but probably. So let's turn it on. Try not to get a glare. And so the back of the PS Vita is also touch sensitive, as well as the front. The back is only good to sort of utilize it as a bumpers for basically when you're doing like remote play. You can use the bumpers if you wanted to, or not the bumpers, but the triggers by using the back. It works okay. There's a system update. It's going to tell me that the store's closed. I know what it's all about. Let's see what's on here. So I have some games that I've downloaded and some games that install these little icons. Let's look at Uncharted. Oh, let's put Uncharted in. So on the top, there's an expansion bay here. It's just a port. I'm not going to open that one. And then the cartridge goes in the second one. Quit complaining, PS Vita. Let's get the game out. Now, of course, if you had downloaded the games, you don't need to worry about the memory card. But soon, you will not be able to download games anymore because the store will be closed. And then you will either have to purchase games or, piracy. People do that because they take away your ability to get the games any other way. Unfortunately, there's going to be a bunch of games that are not going to be out on memory card and are not going to be accessible any other way unless you pirate them. That's what happens with online services that go down. We have to, be pirates. So let's see how this looks. I'm really sorry about the... I do get a nice view of my room in a weird way. One of many rooms in my house. And if you're wondering, I see this glare too. Like I see, like if I look straight at the screen, I see like the camera and the ceiling and everything, holding it at this angle. If I hold it like I can see the camera and my face and everything. It's just, you know, that's the nature of these screens.
Shots were fired by the river. It was nothing.
Let's skip it. Nobody wants to see the damn movie. Come on.
I'll tell him.
How do I skip the freaking movie, man? Skip. Oh. I'm sitting here pushing buttons. You would think that it would take a button press as well as me touching it. Yeah. I just want to look at the in-game graphics here, guys. Okay, alright, good. It's nice. What am I doing? It's fine. Okay, what do you want me to do here? Look, this is crazy. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm touching it. I can touch this thing. Alright. Fortunes. Touch this. Tutorials. There. That's ridiculous. Yep. So, you know.
Gotta get up there. Of course, that's easier said than done.
It's your standard, you know, Nathan Drake, Tomb Raider-esque type title. This is like your thing, you know, like puzzles. I get it, man. Oh. Yeah. Are you dumb? Do you know how to play games? Well, here's some instructions on what you should probably do. And if you don't do what we say, you're gonna die. But luckily for you, all the places you're supposed to go are colored gold. So if you just follow the gold, you'll manage to get exactly where you want to go.
One of Dante's mercenaries. Bastards.
What am I supposed to do? Poor guy. He was just hanging out. Now he's dead. Pick up a gun. Switch guns. Yeah. Alright. So we get the idea. PS Vita, you know, it had some internet connectivity too. I think there was a browser for it. You know, you can go home and you can curl this down here and to close it. Who cares about save games? Save games are for weak minded people. There's calendar, email. You can play music, I guess, or watch a video. There's a browser. I did some, things where like they were trying to do that whole like Wii 3DS thing where you group of people in your neighborhood, this near thing and stuff. But I don't know, some of that stuff I feel like maybe is more like for maybe like when you're in a congested area like Tokyo or something, you know what I mean? Like if you're in your like apartment and like there's like 200 people in that like 1 mile radius that live right there or something. But like when you live in like a suburb or something, or God forbid you live way out in the country, there ain't nobody near you that has one of these things. You know what I mean? Like it's almost impossible to run into somebody that's using it at the exact same time you are in the same neighborhood and such. So, those things never really get much traction in the United States. They're probably cooler maybe like in New York or Los Angeles or something, Chicago or someplace, but even then, I sort of doubt it. You just have to have like a much bigger number of people that have them, and your population would have to be more condensed. But anyway, Vita, it's pretty cool, and people couldn't hack it, I think, and you can make it do lots of stuff. But it does basically, it is just like a cell phone today. Most cell phones are more powerful than this. You don't get these analog control sticks and digital sticks and PlayStation buttons and trigger buttons and things on a phone, but I do know that they make things that you can connect, but getting all of those things configured in such a way, and games that will support these kind of configurations, not common. And most cell phone games are pay-to-win type games, or free-to-play games where you have to buy skins and things. It's just, this is just, a standalone, you buy games, you play games, etc. And for the most part, it was a pretty good system. I don't have any complaints about the Vita. I thought it was pretty well done. It was just one of those things that people just didn't want it because they already had a phone, and it was kind of expensive, and they, if they were going to play games and buy games, they'd buy it either for their home console, that they have now, or for their phones, etc. And it just kind of went that way. So, all in all, PS Vita works. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about it, so it's a keeper. Thanks for watching, and let's move on to the next one.